I have gotten a ton of messages about security for MSPs and offering security, video surveillance, and access control from you guys. So I'm going to go through a quick demo of one of the products that I recommended in a previous video. I'm going to walk you through it with the questions and answers that you might have about it. I'm going to answer them to the best of my ability. I do have a cool episode coming up in the near future as well that you're not going to want to miss out on. My name is Harrison Barron from growth-generators.com. We help MSPs grow, whether that is from sales training to marketing, even to some business operations as well. We have been super fortunate to help a ton of you guys, and we want to continue helping you guys as well. So before I get into this video, I do want to mention there are some super helpful links down in the video description. Check them out. I do try to swap them out as often as possible to new stuff, interesting stuff that you might want to check out, including other helpful videos. And if you're listening on the MSP Heroes podcast, now available on Apple and Spotify, I would appreciate like a review. That would mean a lot to me because I work pretty hard, and I would really appreciate just a little 5-star review, or don't leave a review, just 5 stars, because that's what I think I'm worth. So let's talk about video surveillance, because a lot of people have mentioned like, hey, I don't really know. I don't know if this is something I'm capable of. I don't know if I should step into that territory. And that's truly where I want to kind of show MSPs there is a ton of revenue when it comes to security cameras and video surveillance and access control. Those little fobs to open the doors, there is crazy, crazy money. Now, before I get into today's video, I do want to preface one thing. Where you live will dictate mainly the access control, opening those doors. You will have to do a little bit of homework. But security cameras, there's almost no rules and regulations kind of set forth on them. You can set them up. There's nothing that's going to stop you from setting them up. As long as they don't impede people going in and out of buildings, you're going to be fine. And guess what? Most businesses have security cameras, and a lot less businesses have those fobs or opening doors. They still exist. There's still hundreds of thousands of them out there, but there are so many businesses, especially the ones you're probably already working in, that have security cameras. So why not make the additional revenue and take over those security cameras? Because guess what? At the end of the day, they're going to call you for the network problems, for the camera problems not connecting, for the printer not working. And instead of you having to call somebody else and passing it on, why not make that additional recurring revenue yourself? Now, I want to go over a lot of the benefits of what you actually get with this specific program, but there's plenty of them out there. I don't want to say, hey, this is the greatest thing in the world, although I think it's a pretty amazing product. There are plenty of other alternatives out there, full transparency on that. But I reached out to the company. I said, hey, can I make a demo or a video on this? And they said, sure, we would love that. So that's what I am doing. So in here, there is we have a company called Qumulex. It is something I mentioned in a previous video. It's unified cloud video surveillance and access control. And we already know what the cloud is. Essentially, in fancy terms, and how this works is it goes from a camera to what in their world is called an NVR, but they call it a gateway. That gateway is the buffering zone to get it to the cloud, where they can store it for as long as you would like. Years if you want that. That's the beauty of it. Now, there has been a recent string of attacks on car dealerships. Now, car dealerships have been getting hammered. They just got hit with a cybersecurity attack. Now there is a string of car dealerships where burglars are going into the business. These businesses have locking doors, usually with an actual lock, and they have surveillance cameras. They're going in, they're ripping out that NVR, that thing that records all the cameras, and running away with it. And they're stealing cars in the process. So not only are they getting the cars, they're stealing all of the security footage. And when that device gets removed, all that footage is gone now. There's no additional storage that they have for it, because it's a tremendous amount of data. It's really important I mention that, because Qumulex actually solves that problem and so much more. If a theft goes in, steals that box, runs away with it, even if they steal a car, the nice part about this is the data is still in the cloud. So you can go on your mobile device and say, hey, I want to check on this one camera. And you can get that footage and see who actually stole from you, send it to the appropriate authorities, and now you actually have a case. The other beautiful part about what they do specifically is, before you're thinking, hey, Harrison, what if they lose internet? It still records it locally to that box until that internet connection is restored, and then it sends it to the cloud, which is tremendous because, look, we all know that ISPs, as reliable as they are, they're known to have some issues. And look, the outside environment gets involved too. People hitting telephone poles, people hitting the fiber cables with whether they're digging where they're not supposed to, or they're just laid around and somebody happened to hit them with a lawnmower. There are so many possibilities. And if you don't think your ISP goes down enough, trust me, if it can happen, it will happen. And in most cases, this is going to happen. So really, really cool stuff on how they do it. They work with just about any camera. In the camera world, there's a thing called ONVIF, ONVIF. In ONVIF, that is their language in cameras. And there are standards that have to abide by that language. I'm breaking this down as simple as I possibly can. Those cameras all have different kind of languages involved in them. In this case, ONVIF Profile S, which is the language that basically allows it to encode the data the way most people actually use it. So if you're buying like knockoff stuff, it might not have that, but real industrial stuff, whether it's iPro, Hanwha, Axis, there are so many camera brands out there that typically, almost all cameras for the most part, have ONVIF Profile S. And they have that so other companies, in this case like Qumulex, can then work with that data. So if they already have an existing camera system and they have an Ethernet cable plugged into the back of that, you're probably pretty good to go right off the bat. You might want to do a little bit of homework, but it's a pretty safe assumption right from there. Now, they have that anti-lock, and then they also work with those door controllers, and I'll get into that in a little bit. They have already built several businesses before this, so it's pretty cool. And the nice part is it's browser-based. You don't have to go into what most businesses would have is you have to either dial into that box, right? You have to go to a specific URL, and that URL would actually bring you to that physical device on site to then review that footage. And then, God forbid, you have a whole separate system for the doors. Now you have to go through two systems, match them up, and make sure that everything aligns. In this case, the same interface that we're going to see in a minute is the same interface you're going to get on your phone. It's called a progressive web app, and it's pretty cool. They have a bunch of different views, and we're going to go through that, but I think it's really important. And I do want to shout out really quickly, they have a try Qumulex or QX control now. You can go through and try it out. And if you want to, you could become a reseller and take their training. It truly is pretty awesome. So I've gotten access to the system here, and I, full transparency, am on Wi-Fi. So my Wi-Fi is not the greatest at my house. But the cool part is you have all of this. Now, if you watched the previous video, I went very quickly. This is going to be a more in-depth review. They tie these cameras to the door. So if they have access to doors, you can actually dial this in, and hopefully I'll be able to zoom in here. And that will light up in another second because my internet is not the best. There you go. Boom. It's lighting up, right? You can see the motion in here. This is in real time. There used to be a clock sitting out, but you could go through so much stuff. You could see a ton of different cameras, whether you want to lay that out by an 8x8 and have your walls plastered in giant TVs. You could lay it out with additional information, however you really want to lay it out, and even some widgets in here. So gateway bandwidth, and all of the nerdy stuff that we know and love so well. Now, they do have a timeline. In this case, you can go through. We'll just go grab this camera, for example, and you could go back. You could see all of the data. You can create a clip, send it to the police if you need to. Somebody that needs to actually see this. But the coolest part is if you go through here, and this is their demo account, you can see all of the businesses through here. So if you're familiar with Cisco Meraki and how they do it, and a lot of other brands are starting to do this as well. I think Unify is one of them, where you can see all of your customers. The nice part is now you don't have to bounce around to 35 different accounts to dial in and VPN in, or however you want to get access to it, remote desktop, whatever. You could actually go through and see all of your clients all in one place. The nice part about that is you don't have to go work on everything. You can diagnose 99% of the issues right from this screen. Now, we just saw those places. You can bounce around any of those places. We have clips, any of those clips that we made. In this case, I just haven't, there are a couple clips. This has, somebody walking through the parking lot. And like I said, my internet's kind of slow here. I wish I was on hardwired connection. But guy in shorts, I don't know who named that person shorts because that person's definitely not wearing shorts. But hey, guy in a t-shirt, we should say. But walking through the parking lot, setting that ability out. You can go through reports. People, just like your Active Directory, people belong to groups. Groups belong to, groups get permissions, and then you can create and customize roles. So if you like that ability to take and give away certain people's roles, that's super important. The nice part is us as MSPs can take this, we can modify it, we can give the appropriate people the permissions they need without giving them the keys to the castle. That would be detrimental. You want to give people the access that they should have. Maybe you want to restrict the business owner from, making a bad decision, actually deleting everything. You can restrict them if you wanted to, and that's part of your agreement. But that's the coolest part about it. You can dial in locally to the gateway. Now, I don't have any gateways local, but you'd actually be able to dial into this gateway. You'd get this. Once I click this, it's not going to connect, but you'd be able to get that if you're on the LAN and see all of the data that's currently being passed through, right? What's going on? Who's accessing it, right? How much data is being put through it, what cameras, devices, all of that, the doors that are currently connected to it. All your devices are going to be listed in here. Your cameras are going to be broken out separately. Your doors are going to be broken out separately. Scheduling, right? Pretty self-explanatory. Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, you could be open. But the interesting and probably the coolest part about this is they have a built-in rules engine. Now, I love rules. You can name the rule whatever you want to name it. If you want to do the advanced stuff and you want to do some custom coding, you're welcome to do that. We're going to keep it basic here because I am a basic kind of guy. You have events. What triggers that event? A guard to make sure things don't just happen. And actions. Who do you want to text? Who do you want to notify something is currently happening? Text, email, notification, however it actually is. And I only mention this because there is so much opportunity for MSPs specifically to add more recurring revenue and make your life easier, because you and I know that client is 100% going to call you if something happens. Now, you could shove that off to somebody else, or like I said in the beginning, get paid for that work. It is truly an impressive program. The team is super aggressive with growing the business. They asked, hey, could I make a video on it and help that out? If you'd like, I'm going to leave some super helpful links down below to access this. I will throw in a link to actually go try the software. And if you want to get a one-on-one demo, I might even pop in. They do let me know when that happens, but I might even pop in, and I'm happy to have that conversation. But it truly is a massive revenue source. And you don't just think like your office building, right? Your lawyers, your doctors. Retail, preventing slip and fall claims. You can have schools seeing what's going on. If there's, God forbid, somebody that's not supposed to be in that school with a thing that looks like that, right? That would not be good. And I'm doing that for YouTube monetization purposes because that's how we roll around here. That would be horrible, right? And I don't even want to say those things because that's the worst case scenario that happens. You're managing multiple properties. Maybe you have a college campus. They need to be able to see what's going on all the time. Maybe there's an incident happening. Maybe somebody's on campus who shouldn't be on campus. Or heck, maybe a student said something that a teacher did and the teacher didn't really do it. And there's cameras there to prove it. That is truly the benefit for having access to those cameras. And you get to have the ability to go out, sell, and do those things. So I hope that this was a pretty good breakdown. It's a little bit quicker, but a pretty good breakdown of the software. I would highly recommend checking it out. It truly is super, super cool. And if you do buy from them, please let me know. If you enjoyed this, or you've checked it out, or you've learned more, and you've liked and subscribed to this video, let me know what you think. I would love to hear your feedback on what it is. They're also rolling out a ton of stuff as far as analytics go. So you can roll out analytics for a bunch of different stuff. And they're constantly working on new projects as well. So it's a truly aggressive company. It's something that I think is super, super cool. I am mildly affiliated with that company, so I do full transparency out there, but they didn't say you need to go make this. I just genuinely believe in that company. I'm not getting paid for this video or to make this video. I just want you guys to be able to add something to your repertoire. And this is truly, truly incredible because you could already take over their system. And I didn't say this, but especially security cameras, it's not that complicated. Love you guys as always. I'll see you guys on the next video. Till then.